Okay, thanks so much. We still have some folks working their way in, but we could start digging in a little bit after 1 o'clock here on the West Coast. Thank you. Welcome again, everybody. As I mentioned, I'm Eric Cox. I'm a member of the Netcapital team. Please join me in welcoming today the team from Lolaark Vision. We have Dr. Emmanuel Papadakis, president of Lolaark Vision. We also have Dr. Sanat Upadhyay, and I hope I didn't do the worst job ever there, but I think that was pretty close based off of my phonetic reading here, who is the CTO of Lolaark Vision. As always, the companies that we're speaking with today are actively raising capital on the Netcapital platform. I'm going to go ahead and add a link to the offering page into the chat feature there. So you can actually, for those calling in and can't see the chat, you can go directly to netcapital.com/companies/Lolaark Vision Inc. That is LOLAARK VISION or you can go to netcapital.com and search Lolaark. Or you can click the link that I added to chat. Oh, we got people coming in from Kentucky. Science Hill, welcome, Kentucky. So please do click the offering page, review the materials there, and you too can invest in this deal. Before we dig into the nitty-gritty here, a couple of quick housekeeping items. Please use the Q&A functionality built into Zoom. I know there is the chat feature that we're just using to discuss where we're calling in from. Please do use the Q&A feature to ask your questions, and please do ask your questions. We want to keep this as interactive as possible. The whole reason for getting on the line here is to answer your questions. So please do get in here, ask your questions. I'll get to as many of them as I possibly can, and the Q&A feature makes it easier to track those as they come in. So with all that being said, please join me in welcoming the Lolaark Vision team. Dr. Papadakis, you want to start us off and tell us a little bit about the problem that you're addressing and how the Lolaark Vision solution fits into the marketplace here.
Yeah, I will start with the current problem. You saw yesterday there was a tragic accident. That plane ended up in the Potomac River. Now you go search for bodies in the Potomac River in a mangled airliner, and you have two problems there. They're both contributing to poor visibility. One, the water is murky, physically murky, because you have silt. Second, the low temperature of the water makes the visibility even poorer. So this is exactly where our application comes. When you have poor visibility, how can you make the picture cleaner to help those who search for bodies, because you can't have them as many hours as you probably need in this type of water. They get cold. They need to get out. You need to rotate them, so you need many crews. So it's a very important aspect to expedite the work in our application, because it cleans the visibility underwater, expedites the work by at least 50%. So it can cut your time, it can cut your cost, it can cut the risk also, because there is an inherent risk. The more you have a person in the water, the higher the risk it is for some accident, for some mishap, by 50% at least. Now, our application doesn't only work for divers, it works also for robots, underwater robots, but also it can work for robots on the surface. For example, you can use it for cleaning up the visibility if you have a blizzard, then you have a police car, an ambulance, a fire truck that needs to respond. In heavy rain, actually, these days, we're talking also with the government of Singapore, because they are very interested in exploring our technology. This is the first time we make this announcement here. We're participating actively in a competition there. We didn't apply. They invited our application to the competition because they saw our technology. And this is another thing that we've seen in the last 4 months, an increasing number of technology scouters approaching us. And that means the general public is starting absorbing our technology and understanding what we do a lot better. So when the visibility is poor, actually not Netcapital helps. Netcapital comes indirectly. Lolaark Vision technology comes in and cleans up the picture in real time for all types of cameras. That's actually our latest product. When we started the Netcapital campaign, we had only one type of cameras. We had just started working with IP cameras. Right now we have a product and we released it in December. We have sent several trial versions to big companies that are very interested. We're talking about very big companies in the oil and gas business, in underwater assets maintenance, and they're all very interested because our product has actually seems to be doing better than our competitor, but where we do better is the universality. We work with the existing equipment. We don't force the client to buy new equipment. Plus, we are cheaper. So there are two advantages: quality, price, universality. I don't know if Sanat wants to add something.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Dakis. That was very comprehensive. I only want to add one thing to our attendees here, that this problem of poor visibility can hit you at all three levels of navigation, whether you are in air, like for example, you are traveling through using a helicopter through a foggy terrain, or you are flying a drone. So in air, you have a problem. If you are driving on the land, you can have a problem, as Dr. Padakis mentioned, through rain or through fog. You have accidents in fog because there was poor visibility, or if you are in water. So navigation at all three levels, whether you are navigating manually or you are navigating using an AI, you have visibility challenges. And this is the challenge that we address, and we have become more and more efficient in doing so because our products have become better. We plan to come up with many more verticals going forward. Our first product relates, as mentioned, relates to underwater robotics and inspections, both manual and using ROVs. But in future, you would see our product helping manual driving, self-driving cars, and drones, aerial vehicles, etc. So we will have a large number of applications, potential applications in front of us, and we are going to try and cover as many of them as possible in going future. And we need your active investment here uh, to make that possible. Thank you.
No, thanks for adding that. I think that's really important. I mean, each level carries with its own kind of risk and difficulties, from the aerial, the ground pursuit, and even the underwater. And to Dr. Papadakis' point there, the accident we saw very recently in DC out of Reagan International, that was a collision between a military chopper and a domestic carrier. So avoiding those, and that was catastrophic loss of life. I think they say that all 67 passengers are presumed no longer with us. So these are real life applications that have real consequences. I do see some great questions coming in. Thank you so much for that. Let's keep that going. So I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody who's calling in from Columbus with your questions there. I will get to that in just one moment here. On the offering page, as part of the solution, you mentioned that the first product, the clarifier, improved video clarity by an average of 110%. Can we talk a little bit about the underlying technology that allowed you to have that such an exceptional performance there?
Yeah, well, we've got to clarify a few things there when we say by 110%. Actually, we can a little bit update that because by the time we wrote it, we were using certain metrics now. Well, by the time we wrote the page for Netcapital, we were still preparing the trial and the evaluation from the American Bureau of Shipping for the underwater application. Now, who is the American Bureau of Shipping? It is a third body, non-profit, but they make money. Otherwise, they are non-profit, certifier of everything that floats, and it's over 150 metric tons. That can be oil rigs, ships, tugboats, container ships, LNG vessels, everything. And they are worldwide. It's the biggest operation worldwide. And they gave us a certification as new technology. So for them, we use different metrics. First of all, there was one objective metric, how far we expand the radius of visibility, how further we push your visibility horizon. That's by 40% on average, but we improved the clarity by 300 to 400%. And they verified that. And let me explain what is the 300, 400%. If you see a picture which is hazy, what is the distance from the object that allows you to see the details of the object? You got to bring it close, okay? If the water is hazy. But if we clean it up, we allow the object to go further away, you still see the same details. That's exactly, we cut by 50% the inspection time. And in this distance, in this ratio of distances, the comfortable visibility of the details, we increase that distance by 4 times, 3 to 4 times on average. And they verified that in very
That's
difficult
amazing.
conditions, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
fantastic. So even more promising metrics. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Rapatia.
I was wondering, Dr. Putakis, if it was possible to, in this demonstration, to show our latest trial in the lake, where we
Yeah, I
had
will
the
show you. So you will see here. Now, let me open that. This was
This is an
observed by many companies. Let me share my window.
This is a trial that we performed with one of our clients in underwater in a lake, and
It's
you
a
are seeing a
retainment
very
lake, so it contains murky water because it basically, let me give you an idea. The right side is the original video, the raw video. The left side is what is being cleaned up. And we had a great light actually with this, an artificial light by Sidus Solutions. And the camera was also by Sidus Solutions, a very good camera. And you can see, you see the fish here clearly. That's what I mean. You saw it before. Here you still see it, but here you didn't see it. That's the increase of the visibility radius. Here, the
now.
increase of the visibility radius was actually, it pushed the visibility to almost a meter or a meter and a half in a retainment pond, not clean water.
Now imagine if this kind of a murky water is in a lake and where you are trying to find some people who are injured but who may be alive.
Here's our big
And
star, the turtle. Look at that.
And now you can no
So
longer see it in
it's
the
still, you know, it
previous.
went off the frame, and you could still see it even at the edge of the frame. Yeah, the
now,
fish really loved it, loved the shooting, and they were our big stars actually. Look at him here. He was coming in back and forth several times. And you see the other
Ready
one?
for Hollywood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
can
can hardly see it in the
right.
the original screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, once you see it on the left, you will be able to point it in the other one. But because you saw it on the left, that's what we mean by easing the visibility. Make it obvious immediately. You don't need to just go there and put all your brain energy to find the objects. That's exactly what we say the clarification factor, 300 to 400%.
now imagine if you have this kind of a situation where you have people who are unconscious, who are not in a position where they can call for help, but you are trying to locate where they are. And time is crucial because after, if you don't find them quickly, they may actually be dead. If your visibility is good, and if you are if you are doing rescue operation, you are more likely to be able to save them than if you are left without any assistance of this kind of a tool. So what we are talking about is not just saving costs for companies in doing their inspections, but also in many ways to be able to save lives in people when they are used in rescue operations.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful shot right here because you can't see any of those fish on the original hardly at all. Now
Yeah,
as it comes closer a little bit,
yeah, this one is
yeah,
close. It came close by, yeah.
that
And
actually
it
ties. Go ahead.
started all
Yeah.
over again. Yeah, let me show you another one. I hope it will start here. This is a drone. This is an aerial drone. Oops, no, it didn't.
I think if you close this window, we might be able to see
Yeah, I'll
the
close
one.
that one
Yeah.
and I'll share the other one. Okay, what is the conversation here?
Or you might have to stop sharing and then reshare the new one. But let's see what happens when you close it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to share the other one.
No, thanks for the demo. I think that really is a helpful illustration of the product in real
Yeah,
time.
here's an aerial drone. Okay, similar problem.
Oh, we're not seeing that quite
Haze.
yet. Do you mind
A-
sharing your screen
Yeah, a
again?
haze flight.
Dr. Papadakis? Okay, we go. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so
Perfect.
that's in Greece, actually in a mountain slope. Back then, all this area had fresh trees. Those trees don't exist anymore after this summer's fire. And you see here also, those lines that you see are from because you are flying through the cloud and the cloud is not very homogeneous, has layers. So we capture also the layers. But what is the important thing here? You don't see, I have another one where you can see the electric poles, which is quite important because if you can't see where the power lines are, you can just run into the power lines. Object avoidance will work in drones only when you have a clean view, not when you have the haze view. So essentially, the clarifier can be an add-on to drones to work together with their cloud avoidance.
Mm.
Any question on the chat? Because I kind of
We do.
lost.
We do. No. This is fantastic. I think this is super good illustration, but we do have some great questions that already came in. Okay, so let's start here.
Diving mask.
Oh,
Okay, here, there's one question for the
sorry.
diving mask.
Do you mind
Yes,
before we go
it
there?
can be
I do have
incorporated.
yeah, oh, sorry, Dr. Papadakis. We do have a couple that came before that. Do you mind if we just go in order as they came in? There were a couple
Okay,
other
right.
thoughts that I think are also
Now I can see.
fantastic. Yeah, somebody wants to know if you have any direct military interest, and I want to kind of expand on that. Any conversations with humanitarian or disaster relief, as well as military or police?
We do. Actually, we have a local fire department that is very interested to incorporate our technology for their robot. They have an underwater robot and they want to test it for body recovery. Now, keep in mind that we actually work together very well with sonar as well when we do the search and rescue, search and recovery operations. Those are not search and rescue, indeed, most of times. So the sonar will just scout, but the sonar will probably point to some object. Then you have to have to acquire the picture of the object to be able to see what is there. And yes, that is actually one part. And one of our resellers, they are committed to become one of resellers. They have connections with the military industry. You know, it's not very easy for junior companies like us to penetrate into the military industrial complex. Let me use these words. It's a closed conglomerate. They don't really see new companies very easily. You have to go there to shows frequently so they can see, and then they will start approaching you. But one of our resellers does have this, and he sells security cameras for the military and the Navy. So yes, our tool actually can work very well with these, and that's exactly the pathway we want to follow with them.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Is there another question?
There are a couple. I got you. Don't you worry. Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, on that note, we've actually had issuers raise capital through Netcapital and go on to get Department of Defense financing after that. But you're right; it does oftentimes take you doing certain things, meeting certain steps, certain capability checks, and things like that. So happy to. Hopefully, this could be another opportunity there for a DoD investment there. What is Lolaark, and this kind of like a broader concept, and we'll come back to specifics again. What is Lolaark Investment's core business model and investment strategy here?
Okay, the core business model is for us to work with resellers and also find companies. So we, first of all, let me make one thing clear. We want to avoid the retail. We're not going to be your Amazon for poor visibility apps. No. Instead, and that's how we work either with drone companies. We are in pursuit of drone companies. We have not struck any deal with any of them. We talk to them. We actually had an offer we were approached also by Ukraine, but they needed a product for the drones to put it on the drone right now, but we didn't have that right now, simply because it requires quite a bit of development to do it. But we want to go to to start the business with companies that do drones, for example, and they can incorporate our technology as a plugin to their navigation system. So they will do the retail. We just give them a blanket license. They pay us upfront that much, and then they pay us every year a certain amount, or based on the license amount. It can be a combination of both. And that's how we plan to see revenue coming into the company. And evidently, through these deals, we can increase the company outreach so that the company can be bought eventually by one of the big manufacturers out there, and that would be the exit strategy for everybody. So eventually, this is the pathway we want to have the company become a subsidiary of of a much bigger company than us, but we would like not to sacrifice the company when we do this. We don't want to walk away, because we know the technology. We have the know-how. We want to be able to stay there and as a subsidiary continue advancing, also incorporating more AI than what we have right now, and also embedding the technology in AI applications. For instance, object detection for self-driving cars. That would be one.
Yeah. Those are great applications for sure.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and
Doctor.
if I haven't completed if you feel that I leave gaps in the answer, please, this is the webinar for. We want to share all of our thoughts with you, and we want to hear your thoughts as well, okay? You are interested in the company, you might have a better idea than us. We just not only, because we are doctors, we're not only supposed to talk, we're also supposed to listen. So we're open to listen to you. Thank you.
Very humble. Appreciate that. And Dr. Patier?
Yes, one of the initial points that Dr. Papadakis made, I want to elaborate slightly on that. Yes, we are going to engage with drone companies and other companies to to work the way Dr. Papadakis mentioned. But for the time being, the product that we have released for underwater systems, that we are engaging actively with many resellers. We have already signed one. We're processing. We are in the process of negotiating with another, and we are in the process of building a a sequence of resellers who are then going to out in the market and sell our product. So we have this dual sales policy where we sell product right now for one vertical and also collaborate with companies in other verticals to have a licensing mechanism with them. So we are using these both models for our business right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you think about all levels of drones. There's military drone applications, of course. There's those consumer drones that are fantastic by DJI and others.
Yeah,
and then there's even the kind of the hybrid, the commercial ones, where you're seeing even more drone deliveries for Walmart, for example.
Yeah,
where
drone deliveries, also medical drone deliveries, deliveries of medical equipment, and they also plan to use them. I saw this in one of the proposals I was reviewing. Deliveries of organs, instead of sending them or waiting for a commercial flight, now you can send it with a drone. But that means you have to be able to send it also in weather that is adverse. So you really need our technology to be able to fly safely and deliver the valuable organs on time and with 100% reliability.
Yeah, that'll be super impactful for remote regions
Yes,
and
yeah.
hospital systems. That's
That's
fantastic.
a
And
much more humanitarian than military drones. Yes, our app does have applications on military drones, also on unmanned surface vehicles, and possibly my dream is to be able to put it on cell phones. Cell phones are not there yet, but imagine you're going to use it once in your life. It won't be another chance to use it. You are in a fire. Now you're in a room or in a place, start filling up with smoke. Turn the app. It will help you find your way out because the app can see through the smoke because it doesn't depend on using infrared. It can still work without the infrared.
that's amazing. Yeah, and you
And
talked
if
about,
this is my dream to be able to make this app for cell phones.
I love that. I love that. And you talked about fires in Greece.
Yeah,
Obviously, there are massive
fires and
fires
grease
through Los
fires
Angeles.
everywhere. Look, Palisades.
Hmm.
You leave a little
Yeah,
bit late, now you have to drive through the fire. If you panic, if you lose your bearings, then you will panic. Then it's more likely that you will die.
no, that's super incredible. So yeah, military,
Yeah.
disaster relief, humanitarian.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if we make this app, we don't want to sell it expensive.
right.
We want to sell it cheap so everybody can have it on their phone. Because we don't want anybody to lose their life because they couldn't buy it.
That's amazing. Appreciate
2
that.
cups
And
of
I can't
coffee.
help but,
That would be
yeah,
my price. 2 cups of coffee.
I love that. That's fantastic. All right, well, those are on me if we get to that point. And I can't stop thinking about the recreation application. As soon as I saw the fish
Of
video
course,
for
yeah.
anybody else who likes to fish, I mean, come on, that's just that's better than
Oh yeah,
most
yes.
of
Yeah, I'm not a fishing guy. Yes, I
the
eat fish, but
recreational.
I fish it at the grocery store
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they let them do the heavy lifting.
from
But
the
you always think
shelf.
about like
Yeah.
winter sports enthusiasts, right? With anything that might happen with landslides and things like that, or for
Mhm.
avalanches, that could be interesting applications. Okay, I want to get to more of the questions that are
Yes,
coming in
certainly.
here.
Yeah.
So, could this technology be incorporated into diving masks for instant improvement in visibility, or do you have to be diving with a camera system with viewable screen? Let's talk a little bit
No,
about how you imagine.
okay. No, you need to have the camera. I mean, the mask is not there, but the United States Navy have virtual environment masks. So you can get the recording, you can get the feed directly from the surface down to the diver because they have the tether, and the tether can transmit the data so the diver can have a direct view, but also the improved view. The news are the following. Now, always when you use our technology, the camera, even without the clarifier, can see better than the diver, even a diver with eagle's eyes. But with a clarifier, they can see a lot better. We've seen this time and again with our trials.
Fantastic. Yeah. So that's a really cool application. Yeah. And for anybody who enjoys the diving sports. So we're about halfway through our scheduled programming. Thank you so much for the questions. Please continue to ask your questions. I'm going to use this halftime to remind folks that Lolaark Vision is actively raising capital on the Netcapital platform. I'm adding a link into the chat feature there. You can select that link. You go directly to the offering page where you can review the information. You can learn more. And if you're so inclined, you too can invest. For folks listening to this audio, you can go to netcapital.com/companies/Lolaark Vision Inc.
Mhm.
That is LOLAARKVISIONINC. Or you can go to netcapital.com and search Lolaark, and you'll be able to find the offering information there. So if you're so inclined, do review the materials and potentially invest. Okay, let's keep the proper going. Usually we get to the team section earlier in this, but I really appreciate all those questions, so please keep them coming. But please, Dr. Papadakis, Dr. Upatiai, please tell us a little bit about yourselves and other team members on the team.
I'll start with Sanat because he hasn't spoken much.
Hi, my name is Sanat Upadhyay. I originally belong from India, and I joined University of Houston as a graduate student of Dr. Papadakis many years ago, where we did a lot of good mathematics in our research because I was a PhD student in mathematics. So once I completed my work with him, I then moved to computer science, and where I worked with one of the leading scientists in bioengineering and cancer biology, Professor Yanaki Gustafsson, who has won Little Nobel Prize too, and work with him on computational cancer biology, which involved mathematics, computer science, bioengineering, a lot of interdisciplinary stuff. And I gained several expertise both from my mathematics training, computer science training, and all this interdisciplinary training, to then finally, after a few years, join back with Professor Papadakis with the idea of this company, where we had a completely homegrown algorithm in doing visibility enhancement. And we are here today as a result of more than a decade of work that we have done together with completely new pioneering work, both in mathematics and in technology, to come up with what you are seeing today. So, what we have packaged today as a product may look like something which is new and appealing, but there has been a large volume of work that has gone behind it for many years before it has reached this culmination of a product. And that is something that we did together over these years.
I love it. Student
Um,
student turned colleague. That's fantastic. Dr.
yeah,
Papadakis?
I came from Greece originally, 1999. I joined the University of Houston as an assistant professor. I've been coming back and forth the United States between United States and Greece, traveling as a postdoc, as a researcher since 1995. But 1999 is when I settled in Houston. It's very strange, but when I first came to the United States, I landed in Houston. Kind of a coincidence here. Um, and I'm with the University of Houston ever since. In 2021, we made the big step to start Lolaark Vision as a corporation. That was really an order of magnitude change. We had started the development of the product even before, because when we formed the corporation, we even had a prototype, a good, something more than a proof of concept, but it wasn't a product. It was actually close to, I would say, not 50%, probably 55% of becoming a product. And we first raised as a company in 20 in Start Engine, then we moved to Netcapital. Altogether, we have raised close to 450,000, something around that order. So if we have more investment, we can probably reach the landmark of 500,000. Now, I've been a professor for several years. I think I became a professor in 2011. In 2024, 2025 now, you lose track of the years. And I still keep my research project. One of the fields of study right now is some type of mathematics that we can also incorporate in artificial intelligence, because they help us understand how the visual cortex V1, that's the V1 visual cortex back here. It's a very big part of the brain, but it seems that the mathematics I worked to develop with some of my former students, those came after Sanat, appears to be very compatible with the way the brain formulates primary images in the primary visual cortex. And then the brain works like a deep neural network. It first has a very gross layer of forming the image and then starts extracting the information and becomes more compact. The layers become more compact. And that's kind of impressive that we, with mathematics, we came very close to understanding this particular structure. And perhaps, if we understand that structure, we can transfer all of these things to Lolaark Vision because we know the math. That's an advantage. We don't stick with AI and try to do random experiments, too many, that will actually give us. We know which experiments we want to go after because we know the math, unlike other people, other developers, that they do not know the math. And this is one advantage of the research team in Lolaark Vision. And Lolaark Vision will keep having research, and we will expand the research team as the income, the revenues expand.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, your relationship and intimacy with the research institution that is University of Houston is a massive advantage here. And I love hearing you both speak about what you learn and what you do in mathematics. I'm super grateful that folks like you exist and are brilliant in math. I think it was probably high school calculus where I decided that I was going to defect and go to law school because that is not a language that I fully appreciate or understand. So I'm grateful that the work that you're doing and tying it into artificial intelligence allows you to do what we're seeing right now with Lolaark Vision. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention a couple more team members that I know are super important. Can you tell us a little bit about Randy and Dipendra?
Yeah, Randy Gagnon is our he's a diver, professional diver. He owns a commercial diving company, so they do inspections in ship repairs primarily and other asset repairs, underwater asset repairs. They help us do a lot of experiments, a lot of trials. They put us in the world of the underwater imaging. And we've been many years together. Dipendra Singh is a self-made entrepreneur. He started from a very small shop repairing computers and printers, those printers that had the dots. I don't believe the younger people have seen them.
They do not remember dot matrix.
They
They
don't
certainly
remember.
do not.
Sometimes you can find them in some remote old airports. They still exist. So he started from this and then he built several companies. Right now, he's working on doing some much bigger business in India. But he has, I think, he has 3 companies here in the US and another in India. He's a very seasoned businessman, and he is advising us on how to move because that's exactly what Sanad and I did not really have, the business acumen. I'm getting there. Sanad is much better than me, I can tell you. He comes up with some ideas in the marketing that are better than mine. But Dipendra is our main advisor.
No, that's super important. And I think being able to recognize where you can use some support and bringing in that support is a critical part of building a successful business. So that's great. Strong team. Thank you so much for the backgrounds there. Let's talk a little bit about the market size for this solution. And again, I want to point out that it's kind of probably difficult to determine the true market size because we're talking about so many multiple market verticals, autonomous vehicles, delivery drones, security and surveillance cameras, subaquatic operations, robot vision, AI cameras. Can we talk a little bit about what you view as the total market size for Lolaark Vision solutions?
Well, the total market size is in the billions. Now, I'm not going to say 10 billions, 20 billions, 100 billions. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to give you qualitatively the size of the market. So let's start from what I know, because that's our first revenue line. By the way, 2024 was the first year with revenue. All previous years, Lolaark Vision had 0 revenue. So 2024 was our initiation. 2025 looks a lot more optimistic and better. So we will bring the company in profitability. Now, why do I say this? Because the market size, even for the underwater, we're talking to big companies like Oceaneering. Now, of course, you're not in the underwater world, but when the Deepwater Horizon blew up, Oceaneering brought their assets. Basically, President Obama called them and said, I need help. And they said, Oceaneering, everybody in Houston. So they asked them to bring their assets to start monitoring the well and then work with other companies like Halliburton and Baker Hughes to tap the well. But they brought the first assets there. It's a big company. They have several ships doing work for the biggest oil companies. I was in one of them that just before Christmas, I almost could have spent Christmas on the boat because the boat started preparing to leave port with me on board, and I hardly disembarked. That was doing a big job for BP. And we're talking to them because they're very interested in our system because they do sometimes work in shallow waters, which are very murky. These guys have about 300 ROVs, 300 big ROVs. We're talking the millions. Suppose that they need about 100 units there or 200 units there. Now, whenever you get one unit, you never get just one, because if the boat leaves the port, you can't say, oh, you know what? The hard drive broke, the SSD broke. Now we need to get another computer. How are you going to get another computer 100 miles out of the port? So whatever you buy in duplicate. So whatever you sell to them, you sell 2 units, not just one. There are other big companies here in Houston we're talking to. I don't want to mention names. All of them are interested. But the big advantage we did is that we are not only talking to the behemoth robot guys, we are also talking to the small guys. So we serve all underwater robots from this small to that big. And this is at least a $500 million industry worth in ROVs that they make, and they make them with increasing speed because they have an increasing number of applications, and gradually they replace divers. Because to put a man in the water, how is a person going to swim upstream in current conditions when you have a current? No way. You need a robot. The robot has much more power. So this is why we have this kind of universal. So this is a big market for us. This, but this is not our biggest market. The drones are our bigger market. The cars, the emergency vehicles is another bigger market, perhaps, more than the drones. So qualitatively, you see that we can expand. And I don't want to go even to self-driving cars. Okay, I'll leave that aside for the time being.
Yeah, and that would probably blow up the target market, total addressable market entirely. So, and for folks who are unfamiliar with the language there, ROV is remote operated vehicle. Those are the robotic machines used in oil and gas industry to perform those underwater tasks that we're describing. And I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that when I saw the underwater tasks, my initial thought really wasn't, what a perfect fit in Houston and oil and gas. I don't know why I didn't connect those dots immediately, but it's really exciting that you already have sales in that space, with the opportunity to expand to all the other things you mentioned, drones, AI powered cameras, etc. Okay, a couple more great questions coming in here. You can answer as much of this as you'd like to. You could, point people to your offering page if you cover this there. But what is the expected return on investment? I'm going to do a quick qualifier actually. When we're talking about the future, I like to disclose and kind of disclaim, the future is inherently speculative and uncertain. These are probably things that you imagine to do, hope to do, intend to do. So I love the language here, expected, theoretical expected return on investment. How often are you imagining paying dividends or returns, and how long is a typical investment period? Is there an opportunity for early withdrawal, et cetera? So a little bit more of the investment mechanics. And again, oftentimes people take that offline, but I'm going to give you an opportunity if you want to share a little bit about this proposed ideal uncertain return on investment.
Okay, now the expected return of investment. I believe it's going to be at least a tenfold when it will go up, when the company will go up. Okay, so or at least let's be a little bit more modest, eightfold. So once the company becomes $160 million company, then the company needs to be sold, to go somewhere else, to become a subsidiary of a bigger company, because it will need not the money to grow, but it will need the access to the market that the other big company has. And that's actually one of the aspects of capitalism, because smaller companies sometimes are squeezed for the competition. To go and expand their market, they have to go with one of the big behemoths that control the market, their target markets. So this is one of the ways we believe there will be an exit. Now, dividends. At the very beginning, actually, let me tell you a few things about our current finances, because that will help you understand my view on this, or our view on this, because everybody on the board agrees with me. We have kept the cost very low, primarily because I do not draw money from the company. I don't need the company to survive. I work free for all of us. So we have a small payments to the development team, and then to current operations like, accounting. We go to trade shows. We have to pay for some commercials to be able to do, advertisement, these kinds of things. So we keep the cost very low. Once the company starts having income, and it has started having income, but let's say it gets into profitability and can start giving dividends, no, at least for the first 5 years, we are going to reinvest all the income into the development, because we need to expand to new verticals. Now we're catching the vertical of the underwater robots, but we're thinking of the next vertical, either security cameras or drones. We are preparing for both, because that's the way to go. You don't say, oh, now I'm done with one vertical, let's think about what will be the next vertical. No, you need to plan this and put that on the tracks before you even finish the development on the other domain. So all the dividends will be reinvested, and we hope that as bigger companies will start being interested in us, and as the company will start having disposable income, we will try to do, even before an acquisition, we will try to do a buyout of the smaller investors at a higher price, so that not everybody will have to deal with the bigger guys when they will start coming in.
Yeah. So that's a great
our
part.
plan for their exit, for their earlier exit.
Yeah, thanks for
Sanats and
incorporating extra.
shares are locked into the company. We cannot sell, we cannot move out. This is the initial bylaws in our contract, actually, for our shares. They're absolutely locked. So him and I will be the last ones to go.
Well, I appreciate that. You two are obviously integral to the success of the business, and thanks for also getting into exit strategy there with regards to ROI.
If I haven't answered any question to the fullest extent, please let me know. I try to offer you the best view I have currently. Okay.
No, I think that was fantastic, Dr. Papadakis. Okay, and we're last couple of minutes here, so I think we're going to probably pepper in these last few questions. So can you talk a little bit about competitive analysis? And you don't have to name names here, but how do you view yourself, the Lolaark Vision solution, as a differentiator to other solutions in clarity improvement? Can you talk a little bit about obviously part of your differentiator is you two here on the call right now, and your background in mathematics and your ability to do research through the University of Houston. So you talk a little bit about, intellectual property and other defensibility components to your.
We're still in the process of securing the intellectual property. That's not done deal yet. But however, I mean, even if you have 10 patents, patents really mean nothing. Your ability to go to court and defend the patents means, and honestly, Lolaark Vision doesn't have that money to go to courts. So what is trying to keep us ahead of the game is the classical game of how an antelope can escape from a tiger. Just run faster. That's what we do. We run faster than the competition simply because we know the modern technology, AI, but we also know classical math that they do not know, and they gradually, the newer people gradually lose the ability to learn the amount of mathematics that my generation and Sanat's generations knew. I see that as an educator. And that's actually a great problem, a big problem for the institutional transfer of knowledge. So we will know more. That keeps us ahead of the competition. Now, we have one competitor. Let me give you one example. There is a company from France, I2C. They got money from the French government to develop their product. And they have a very good product, believe me. I've seen it. It's a good product, but we are better. How do we fight against them? Because they have more money than us. We have a better product, we offer a better price, and we offer versatility because they don't offer versatility.
Right. I think that's when you mentioned that it has their software is tied directly into their own existing hardware.
Tied to the camera, yeah. Whereas we said we work with every camera, and we work also with the smaller ROVs. The ROVs that cost $5,000, $6,000. They can, because the product costs $30,000. If my little ROV costs $5,000, I'm not going to buy a camera of $30,000 that cannot even be mounted on the ROV. They can't grab this market. They can only go with the big guys. But the big guys, they have a very big price difference between us and them. So when they do the calculus, it's obvious who's the winner. Us.
Thank you.
That's one example for the competition.
Yeah, I think the hardware agnostic is such a great differentiator there, to where I always love the idea of being able to retrofit or apply that. Choose the ROV that you love, and then incorporate the software.
Our IP is so complex that even if I give you the patent right now, the specification, without knowing the math that Sanat and I know, you won't be able to apply it. You won't be able to implement what we have. It will take you years. By the time it will take you years, we will even be able to see through walls, not just hazy water. Scheme of things, okay, metaphorically.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly right. The more sophistication into the technology, the improvements could be massive. And you talk about scale as well, being able to scale down to the size of a phone, that could be transformational as well. We did get a question about the securities regulations. Netcapital as a funding portal is a member of FINRA and regulated by the SEC. We managed it, we drafted and had reviewed the Form C for this offering. So this is a registered offering. I'm adding a link into the offering page there. The filed Form C is attached to that offering statement. The offering statement is attached to that offering page. So feel free to review that there. I think that answers your questions about the regulatory authority there.
Yes, I would refer to that document. Also, that document outlines the risks. They're exactly the same that we mentioned here. Okay, we're a small company. We need the capital. We need your capital. But I can tell you one thing, you can trust us.
That's fantastic. No, thanks so much for that. And we really only have a couple more minutes here. So this is where I like to transition to closing remarks. So there's two things I love to cover here, and we'll start with the first one right off the bat. Obviously, they need the capital to get to where they need to go. That's why they're on Netcapital. That's why they're raising capital. As they've mentioned, they've raised hundreds of thousands already in the past. Outside of cash, though, how can folks on the line here, or maybe somebody's listening in and they know people, what type of person could be helpful for you? Outside of cash, how can somebody watching this recording or in the audience right now, how can they support the local Lolaark Vision team?
Well, we have I'll give you an example. We have one investor who he's still with us since our star Tenzing, and he is also an advisor. He's working to partner us with the drone company. So if you really want to help us, yes, help us introduce us to drone companies and to security camera companies. This is
I
the
love it.
market. This is our next market. Actually, we're much closer to security camera companies rather than drone companies. But those introductions can really help. Also, with your ideas, come join us, request a meeting. We can talk anytime. Just send us an email, info@lolaark.com. We got this at our website. It will directly hit me, and we can start a conversation. I want to say one thing, because we want now to turn our attention to sales, and we don't want to split thin or to continue, slicing us like as if we're in a deli machine. This is our possibly last extension, the one we will be doing in the next few days. The last amendment to extend the campaign for 2 more months. We envision, and we want to close that campaign on April 1st to be able to be focused entirely on the sales and into bringing the company on profitability, on safe profitability, to be able with a calmer mind and less stress to continue our development plans. So if you plan to invest, don't wait. Join now. That opportunity will cease to exist after April 1st.
Love that, love that, and those are all intended updates there. The expected extension and the expected closing date there. So outside of cash introductions, that's fantastic. I added the email address there, info@lolaark.com, where you can reach directly to the team and share your expertise. I love when even the
Actually, I
smallest.
will correct it. Lolaarkvision.com. Okay.
Lolaark Vision. Okay, sorry about that. I can actually do that right now.
There is one more thing I would like to add here. I'm sorry. There is one more way you can help us. If you are in commercial diving or ROV industry, or if you know people in that industry, you can collaborate with us, become sales partners, and join us in doing the sales and reaching out to newer markets in this domain. So we welcome that opportunity as well to work together.
Great point, Dr. Upadhyay. Yeah, absolutely. And what I've seen historically, one of my favorite things about doing these types of fundraisers is that regardless if you invest $100 or $100,000, you too can have expertise in a domain. You too can have instructions in a space. You too can have feedback that helps benefit the company. So don't hesitate. Don't discount yourself. You too can participate in this and help grow the value of your investment through your relationships, through sharing the opportunity. I always like to encourage folks, if you know somebody who was not able to attend today, but you think they'd be interested in learning more about this solution, please share this. This will be recorded, and we'd love to get this link out to more people so that they can help support the interest here, and of course, potentially invest. So I think it's a perfect finish there. It sounds like there's potentially a timeline on your ability to invest. You're able to go right now to the offering page and invest. I'm adding a link to that again here. And again, for those who are not in the room right now, you can go to netcapital.com/companies/Lolaark Vision Inc. That is LOLAARKVISION Or you can go to Netcapital and search Lolaark Vision. And of course, you can go, you'll be able to find it there. This, as always, has been recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and add a link to the Netcapital YouTube account there. That should be up in a matter of days there, where again, you can review anything that you might have missed. And please do, you can share that to folks that you think might be interested who weren't able to attend at all. And with that being said, I want to thank all the attendees. Thanks for the fantastic questions. That was so much fun. And I really want to thank our panelists, Dr. Papadakis and Dr. Upadhyay. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing
and I
about
want to thank our
Vision.
audience, okay? And thank you, Eric, for being a great host. Actually, you got a great voice. I don't know if anybody told you that. Yeah.
I appreciate that so much. I love doing this. It's one of my favorite parts of this role. So the opportunity to hang out with you, learn more. And thank you so much. I have the soothing tea going on in the background. So happy to read a bedtime story for anybody who's interested. No, I'm kidding. But no, thank you so much for our panelists. Thank you so much for the attendees. The recording will be available shortly, and appreciate you all for joining us. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you all to all the participants, and please don't wait. Invest now, and we are going to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.